Hello guys and welcome back to episode 3 of our Glory Hunter career mode save here on FC25. We are back today with the third episode of the challenge and we're going to be continuing with Napoli today. After in the previous episode we fell up short in both the Serie A, finishing in just 6th place, and then lost the Coppa Italia final to Inter Milan at the end of the season. So it was a trophyless campaign last season, which leaves us with just the 2 trophies that we won back in season 1 with Arsenal, the Premier League and the FA Cup in the trophy cabinet. But this year we're going to be making some investments in the squad and hopefully challenging once again in Italy for the Serie A, the Coppa Italia, and this year the Europa Conference League as well. So without any further ado, let's just dive straight in. Well guys, what I'm going to do this season as we take a quick look at the squad is similar to last year. I'm going to do all my transfers kind of off camera before we head into the season, and then I'll give you guys a little roundup, as it will just make things a lot quicker than showing you each individual deal as it goes through. This is how the squad is looking, and we've still got a pretty decent starting 11 bench and even some quality in the reserves as well. But I do think, as I mentioned at the end of the previous episode, we need a few signings that will elevate this team to the next level. We've not really got any star quality in the team, so I'm going to be looking to make some big investments in the squad, and hopefully we can go far in all 3 competitions that we'll be playing in this season. So as I say, I'm going to crack on with the transfers and I will see you in just a moment to round up all of our business. This is the budget we're working with, 208 million, which has been massively inflated by 2 sales already in Giacomo Raspadori heading to Atletico Madrid in what was quite a realistic transfer, as he has gone there in real life, and of course Victor Osimhen has completed the permanent part of his transfer to Chelsea after spending the second half of the season there on loan. So the budget has risen to over 200 million, and looking at the board objectives this year, the board want us to win the league, win the cup, and wait, hang on. UEFA Europa League reached the final. We should be in the Conference League. Why have we gone into the Europa? We dropped into 6th at the end of the season. Ourselves and Juventus must have gone into the Europa League. And yeah, Bologna into the Conference League. Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world. We can still go pretty hard in the Europa League this year. But I was really hoping we would be in the conference and we could give that competition a real good crack. But okay, it's going to be Europa League, which means we might have to focus on that a little bit earlier on in the knockouts than I would have if it was the Conference League. All right then, guys, I've just spent about an hour playing through the summer transfer window, and I think I'm pretty much ready putting this squad together for the upcoming season. So, going to go through our outgoings first, where the first man out the door is Gianluca Gaetano heading to West Ham for £11 million. We're pretty heavy in midfield and he just wasn't going to get any game time. Just a small fee of 11 million to get Gianluca out the door. Our second departure of the summer, quite a big one, it sees Romelu Lukaku leaving the club for £20 million, heading to Champions League runner-up Aston Villa, as he will join up with Unai Emery. But again, I wanted a younger, more prolific striker to come in and compete with Rasmus Højlund, who you will see in just a moment's time. Our next sale was of Emre Can heading to Newcastle for £23 million, which I actually think was a reasonable sale for a player who is now 32 years of age. So yeah, happy to get him off the books. He was on a high contract as well. And again, I'm just not sure he was going to get too much game time. We then have what I think is another pretty good sale of a player who had handed in a transfer request. That was Manuel Akanji. I would have been quite happy keeping him here, but as I say, handed in a transfer request, and he will join our former club Arsenal for £35 million, which again I think is a really good sale for a player that is now 31 years of age. So the Swiss defender heading back to the Premier League. And the next man out the door is another player who submitted a transfer request. That is Matthias Oliveira. Again, a player I would have been happy keeping at the club as squad player, but he wanted more first team football, so he has left to join Real Betis for just 13.5 million. That is it for the outgoing. So as for the players joining the club, well, we're going to start off with our first signing, and that is the Frenchman Ferland Mendy, 31 years of age. And of course, I have just said there are a few players in their 30s that I wanted to get out of the club. But as a backup for Miguel Gutierrez, he's played lots and lots of European football, of course, been around the Real Madrid team for a long time, but now playing second, maybe even third choice at left back with Alvaro Carreras and Fran Garcia there. Ferland Mendy said he wanted to leave for more first team football and will head to Naples. And our second signing of the summer, I'm going to need a bit of a position change for this one, but that is going to be Zeno de Bast coming in from Sporting Lisbon. Quite a big transfer fee of 42.5 million, and whilst he's not a massive upgrade on what we've got in central defence at the moment, this guy's got great potential, and I'm hoping will grow throughout the season into the mid 80s as he joins the club for 42.5 million from Sporting Lisbon. I'm a big fan of his, and I think he is a really good defender. Next up, I wanted to go for a real quality midfielder to play next to McTominay and De Bruyne, and I went shopping in the Premier League at Brighton and Hove Albion for Danish midfielder Matt O'Reilly, who joins the club. Again, quite a big transfer fee of £50 million, but I am a big fan of his, and I think he is going to be a really good pickup. 6'2", fantastic physically, great on the ball as well, and can do everything going forward and defensively. I think he is going to be a really good pickup. And again, money wasn't really an issue for us with a monster budget of over 200 million. So Matt O'Reilly is our third recruit of the summer. And staying in England with our shopping for our next signing is Frenchman Christopher Nkunku, signed for just £30 million from Chelsea. Obviously a bit of a want-away in real life, and he seems as if he's being a bit forced out of the club, but can play in a number of positions including midfield, can play from the left and up front as a number 9 as well. So I think that is a really good pickup. As I say, for just £30 million, there is clearly a proven goal scorer there, and if we can get the best out of him, I think he will be able to bring us goals from all different areas of the pitch. So Nkunku also joining up with the squad this season. And two more signings to come, the first of those being an ex-Chelsea man himself, but now playing in Italy, Christian Pulisic joining from AC Milan. He was in the final year of his contract, and Captain America said he wanted a different challenge. So he will be staying in Italy, as I say, which may be a bit controversial, but the American will join for a transfer fee of just 38.5 million, which I think is a really good pickup. 85 overall, and I think he will give us a little bit more threat down that right hand side, as I do think going forward we were a little bit lackluster last year, and we have definitely improved with the signings of Nkunku and Pulisic. And finally, our last signing of the window, obviously Romelu Lukaku left the club to head back to the Premier League to join up with Aston Villa. And I said I wanted a striker that can compete with Rasmus Højlund, who's not just guaranteed to walk into the starting 11 and start every game, but will have to earn his place in the team. And I decided to go for the Portuguese striker from PSG, Gonçalo Ramos. Obviously, PSG have such an amazing front three, and he has struggled since he's moved to Paris. He's scored some goals and he's looked decent at times, but he's never been able to cement that centre forward position. And for 38.5 million, same fee that we paid for Christian Pulisic, Gonçalo Ramos will head to Napoli. And I think, as I say, he's definitely a step up on Rasmus Højlund, who did really well when he joined in January of last season. But he's not an absolute world-class centre-forward who is going to keep Rasmus out of the team. If he's struggling, then we've got Rasmus to step in, and he knows he's got some serious competition. But that is it for our summer signing. 6 players joining the club, And I think we have definitely improved the squad, both in terms of the starting 11 and the quality in depth as well. So as we take a look at the team management, you can see how the team is currently lining up. As I say, I think we've got a really strong squad heading into the season. We've brought in some real quality in the starting lineup in the likes of Pulisic and Ramos, O'Reilly and Zeno de Bast, and also some really great quality that we've got on the bench as well. So I'm really happy with our summer window. Well, it's been a long summer transfer window where there's been quite a lot of movement in and out of Napoli once again, but what we will do is we will head through to the January window once again. We'll head to the beginning of the month, see how we're getting on in each competition, and we've got a really tough start to the season as we're going to be taking on Inter Milan. Let's see how we're going to get on in match day 1 as we beat last year's champions in what is a real statement from Napoli. Goals from Miguel Gutierrez and Christian Pulisic before Mehdi Taremi pulled one back, but we managed to hold on for the victory. And I've said this year, I think we can be competing for the Serie A, the Coppa Italia, and what I thought was going to be the Conference League, but is now, of course, the Europa League. So, yeah, we're going to sim through to the 1st of January, see how we are getting on, and I will see you in just a moment. Well, guys, we've made it to the 1st of January, and whilst you won't have seen all of the results, you will have seen a few of them coming through as we simmed. And I think we might be unbeaten in the league. I don't think we've lost. Yeah, there it is. I mean, Juventus not far behind us. I don't think the Coppa Italia has been drawn yet. No, it hasn't. We will find out who we'll face shortly. And in the Europa League, we are currently in 6th place. So it's been a good start to the season. We've not lost in the league, just 2 defeats in Europe. But of course, as I mentioned, Juventus only 2 points behind us and still a long way to go. I think what I'm going to do, obviously, the Super Cup doesn't matter. I'm going to sim through until we see the draw for the Coppa Italia first round, which should be pretty soon. And then what I'll do is I will probably sim that first game unless it's a really tough opponent. So I'll be back in a moment and I'll see you for that sim shortly. Well, guys, I've simmed through to the beginning of February and the results have slipped a little bit. We won the Super Cup, which of course means absolutely nothing, with a 4-0 win over Roma in the final. But there's been lots of draws creeping into our game. Drew with Monza and Juventus in the league, and then Shamrock and Ajax in the Europa League, which means we will actually head into the playoff of the Europa League, where we've been drawn once again against Ajax. As for the Coppa Italia, exact same draw as last year. We've been drawn at home to Modena, so I am going to sim that fixture in just a moment's time. But we are still flying in the Serie A, level on points with Juventus, who are sticking with us. But we're still undefeated 23 games into the campaign. Well, guys, I am going to sim the match here against Modena, as it should be a comfortable progression. And, well, not particularly comfortable, but we do make it through to, I believe it's the quarterfinals. Miguel Gutierrez with 2 and Christian Pulisic with 2, as we were level heading into the final 15 minutes. But a good win that will see us into, I'm pretty sure it is the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, and we're going to see who it is that we will face as we sim through, and that will decide that will decide whether we are going to be playing or simming, and it is going to be Inter Milan, a repeat of last year's final, so we will most definitely be playing that game, and it will probably be the first played game of the episode. Well, I'm going to see how we do in the sim of this first leg. We may end up playing the second if we are trailing, but let's see how we get on in the Netherlands, and it is a 3-1 victory. So I'm feeling pretty confident that heading back home for the second leg, we should make it through to the last 16. Well, it's not a guarantee that we're going to make it through tonight, but I'm feeling pretty confident and confident enough to sim this second leg, where we will make it through. A comfortable 2-0 win. Both goals coming from Christian Pulisic, Captain America, who's having a phenomenal season at the club in his first year since his move from AC Milan. So let's find out who it is we are going to face in the last 16 of the Europa League. It is going to be Marseille. Okay, that's an interesting tie, that pretty strong side, and there are still some very, very good teams left in this competition, the likes of Newcastle, Sevilla, Juventus, Aston Villa and Manchester City. So I'm sure that at some point we're going to have to start taking this competition a little bit more seriously, but I'm still feeling relatively confident in the sim against Marseille. But we will jump into our first game, our first played game of the episode. It is the Coppa Italia quarter-finals against last year's winners, Inter Milan. We lost it in the final by 2-1 after leading early on through Scott McTominay. But it is a much changed Napoli team now. So we will we'll sim through the Atalanta game on the weekend and jump into this midweek clash against Inter in the Cup. Forza Napoli. Sanchez finds McTominay. I see De Bruyne in a bit of space. De Bruyne floats the cross in. Gonzalo Ramos coming in round the back. Maybe had a bit more time than he thought. I didn't feel like he needed to go for the overhead. I thought he could have just headed it back across goal. Oh, Antonio Silva's given that away. De Bruyne finds Noah Lang with a lovely ball. Noah Lang with a brilliant finish. And Napoli take the lead after Ramos missed a few moments ago. Inter trying to play out from the back, giving the ball away. And you can't do that with Kevin De Bruyne on the pitch. Wonderful ball through to Noah Lang. And the Dutchman bends it into the top corner to give us the lead. That's a big breakthrough goal. McTominay into Zeno de Bast, bringing the ball out. Oh, and then took a little bit too long on it. Trouble. Big trouble into level. And it's one of the new signings, Zeno de Bast, who makes a bit of a mistake. Did really well initially and then just took too long to release the pass. Dispossessed, and from there we were in big, big trouble. Zielinski races through, finishes past Meret and Inter a back level. Still Inter have it, and this time De Bast does do well and clears it as well as De Bruyne finds Pulisic on the break. Pulisic looking to get away from Lenny Yoro. Brilliant from Pulisic, and I'm not even sure who that is. Is that Zeno? Is Zeno up from the back, who made a mistake a moment ago, and then, well, he did really well on the build-up to that goal, won the ball back, continued his run, and Pulisic does well, and two of the new signings link up as Zeno de Bast digs it out from underneath his body and drills it past Jan Sommer to restore our lead. This has been a cracking first half. Oh, Ramos will have that. Ramos has done really well. Lang. Ramos. Oh, it's wonderful. And Inter Milan have just not been themselves today. Really poor defensively, giving the ball away in poor positions. And I thought De Bast's goal was going to have us leading going into the break. But Ramos has just said, hold my beer, I'm going to extend it to 2. Brilliant centre-forward play from him, closing the defender down, winning the ball back. And then the finish is exquisite as Napoli have a 2-goal lead heading into the break. Well, that's going to do it here in Milan as well. And what a result for Napoli. Second half was really quiet as we just controlled the game and saw it out. Inter didn't really threaten too much, and it's crazy, man. They beat us in that cup final at the end of last season and one summer transfer window, and we look like a completely different team out there today. Fantastic performance, and what a result as we will head through to the final 4 of the Coppa Italia. Let's go and find out who we're going to be facing. As we get back to the menus, it's going to be AC Milan. Okay, well, That's an interesting one. We beat them in the Super Cup. In the league this year, they are currently sat in 5th, not having the greatest of seasons. So AC Milan in a two-legged semi-final affair. But before we get there, I'm going to jump back to Europa League mode as we're going to head into the last 16 against Marseille. So we've got pretty much our full strength team out there. Let's see how we get on in the home leg, hoping for a victory to take to France. And unfortunately, it is a 2-2 draw after a pretty late Angel Gomez goal. Well, I'd say Marseille will probably be the happier with that result. So let's jump into the second leg. Well, I'm going to be brave and I am going to sim this second leg. Tie in the balance. Is it going to be a good decision or a bad one? It's a good decision, as we will be heading through in what turned out to be a really, really exciting tie. But we will head through to the quarterfinals, winning by 5-4. Well, as we get back to the menu, we see the matched rescheduled email, and we are going to be taking on Juventus. Wow, that is a big, big clash. I think they're still in the Coppa Italia, so we could face them in the final. Of course, in the league, it is so close between ourselves and Juve. They currently a point clear of us at the top. And now we're going to face them in the Europa League. I might sim the home leg and play the away leg, similarly to the Coppa Italia. I think I might do the same, because otherwise this episode is just going to be so long. Well, thankfully it is 2 wins from 2 in the league, which will see us return back to the top of the Serie A. But it is time for that first leg against Milan. Of course, this is a bit of a risk simming this, but we've got that second leg to fall back on if we do have a negative result. But in the first leg, it is a 3-2 win for Milan. So we are going to be trailing heading to the San Siro for the second leg. But that is the only reason why I'm simming, because there is a second leg. Thankfully, another win in the sim in the league against Bologna and a loss for Juventus means that we do extend the gap to 4 at the top. But now taking them on in a direct battle in the Europa League. Again, just hoping to be in the tie heading back for the second leg, and it's a 2-2 draw. So the tie is massively in the balance. Jonathan David with 2 goals for Juve. Gonzalo Ramos scored with 15 to play, and there was a late red card for Juve, but all still to play for in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. But what we'll do now is we will jump into that second leg. We've got Inter Milan away from home in the league in between, so you'll be seeing that result on screen now as we sim through. But it is going to be a huge clash in Turin in the second leg. As I say, deadlocked at 2-2 as we head to the second leg of the quarterfinals. Forza Napoli. Yeah, the second season with Napoli is really just springing into life. It has been a crazy campaign so far, and I'm sure there is still lots more drama to come. But one thing I will say, and one of the reasons why I love the Serie A so much, is because each year it feels like a different team is going to go on to be the most successful. We obviously had the reign of dominance from Juventus, but since that's ended, you know, we've had Milan winning the title, we've had Inter winning the title, as Ramos off the post, and Gutierrez fires it miles off target. Gutierrez forward to Lang. What a ball. What a ball, and what a turn from Noah Lang. Still Noah. Comes infield, lays it on a plate for McTominay. What a rocket from Scott. And I've still not changed his kit number, but he says, "Gaffer, I don't care. I will wear any kit number you want," as he rifles in a wonderful goal to give Napoli the lead on aggregate. You see him on the edge of the box, just crashing into the area. I've mentioned it before, but he is so good at doing that. Completely misprofiled at United, and we're seeing what he can do in Naples, both in real life and here in the save. Compagnon, nice ball. Jonathan David comes in field. Nice pass. Zeno's in the way, and that is not quite going to do it, as brilliantly worked, and Meret comes out and makes a big stop. Wearing the armband this season, and he's not had too much to do in that first half, but the life of a goalkeeper, you've got to be switched on at all moments, and he is there as he comes out and makes a big stop. As we head into the break, we are 45 minutes away from the semi-finals. We have been really good today, and I'm feeling a lot more confident with this Napoli side after the signings that we made in the summer. We've had some great growth from the players that we had last year, and the investment we made has looked as if it is really paying off, and we're a few moments away here from the semi-finals as Meret makes an unorthodox save and Miguel Gutierrez will clear, as that looks as if it will do it here in Turin. One final chance for Juve, and Alex Meret was in the way, as we will make it to the final four of the Europa League. First year playing in this competition in this save, and we're into the final four as we look to get our hands on the trophy. As we get back to the menu, still leading by 4 points in the Serie A. Got that semi-final of the Coppa Italia to come. But as for the Europa League, please don't be Man City. It's not. It's Newcastle United. Well, I think Man City are favourites for this competition, but Newcastle are going to give us a real tough go in that semi-final. What we will do is we will sim through to that second leg against AC Milan in the Coppa Italia semi-final. We actually face them away from home in the San Siro in the league before we get to the Coppa Italia semi-final, and this is our toughest game that we have remaining in the season. So with a 4-point gap at the top, I'm hoping we will get the win that you will be seeing on screen now, hopefully, to keep us top of the table with a 4-point gap. But it is time for that semi-final second leg. Lots of big games coming in today's episode as we travel to the San Siro, looking to overturn a 3-2 first leg defeat in this second leg. Forza Napoli. Yeah, of course, we're trailing heading into this, so we need a goal to get us back on level terms before we even start thinking about trying to get ourselves in front. So lots of work to do today, as Gutierrez finds O'Reilly and he pops it off to McTominay. Scott will drive on. Oh, it's gone in. I think it's taken a nick. And Scott McTominay is proving once again why those fans in Naples love him so much. What a signing he has proved to be. It must take a little nick on the way through, because Thibaut Courtois completely loses it. I'm not sure if it's off Musa or the defender. I still think Courtois probably should have got something on it, but Scott McTominay will not care one bit. Musa runs into McTominay but gets away from him. Those two battling once again. Oh, Musa going all the way. Yunus Musa, it's a wonderful goal. And the goal down the other end was credited as an own goal off the American, although I'm not sure it would have been in real life. But he has just said, I don't care about that own goal. I'm going to score a wonderful solo effort of my own, as he gets away from Gutierrez, beats Meret at his near post, who will probably be disappointed, and gives Milan the lead once again on aggregate. Lang's corner will go short to De Bruyne, who swings it in deep. Buongiorno does well. Pulisic will let fly again, and I think it's taken a nick again. And Pulisic, well, he's got an undershirt on, so he's not going to see the signature Tiger celebration. I think that might have taken a nick on the way through. Buongiorno does well, and Pulisic's effort, I think, does take a nick off somebody. We'll see better from this angle as he lets fly. A little touch off Pavlovic, and Thibaut Courtois is unable to do anything about it again. We are back level, and it's 4-4 on aggregate. Free kick for Milan here. Rafinha to float it in. Lots of bodies in there, but we've done well to defend it. And now De Bruyne finds Ramos leading the break. And De Bruyne again, and Pulisic. He's got Rafinha for company, who's quick, but not the greatest defender. Pulisic. McTominay does it again. Scott McTominay is the man for the big occasion, and Napoli have turned it around here in Milan and now lead on aggregate after trailing by 3-2 coming into this second leg. What a turnaround. Kalulu finds Musa. Naughty tackle by McTominay, but Milan will play on. Grealish on the move. Grealish lets fly. Oh, it's a wonderful goal. And it's 5-5 on aggregate as Jack Grealish, who got 2 in the first leg, equalises for Milan in this topsy-turvy thriller of a cup semi-final. Runs off Sanchez, takes the shot on early and catches Meret slightly off his line with a wonderful goal. Well, it is anybody's guess who ends up winning this, but I'll tell you what, I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous as Gutierrez does well. O'Reilly will find Lang, and Noah Lang fancies a run against Kalulu. Lang does well. Lang, and Højlund denied, and McTominay would have been offside on the rebound as Højlund had the chance to send us into back-to-back finals, but Thibaut Courtois stood up well, made the save, and will force extra time here in Milan. What a crazy game. Well, it's been all AC Milan in these opening moments of extra time. Corner swung in, headed away by Noah Lang. Iran Kunda will pick up the loose ball. And there's Rafinha, long way out, let's fly. Meret tips it away for the corner, but it has been all AC Milan as the corner goes short to Grealish. Work to the edge of the box, good block. And don't blow up yet, ref. Don't blow up yet, ref. Don't blow up yet, ref. Højlund. Højlund, he's got those fresh legs. Rasmus Højlund. What a brilliant counter. And well done, Mr. Referee, for not blowing that whistle and seeing that there was a chance on for Napoli. Rasmus off the bench, racing away, and looks to try and send us into the final. 15 minutes to hold on in what has been a crazy, crazy two-legged semi-final affair. And that is surely going to do it, as the Milan fans will not be happy in the manner at which they lost that game. The referee allowing Napoli to play on despite us having played the 1 minute of added time. But what a crazy semi-final in the Coppa Italia. We were 3-2 down from the first leg, and I was feeling nervous heading into the game, but it was topsy-turvy. It swung left then right. But it is Napoli reaching their second Coppa Italia in 2 years. And I have a feeling I know who's going to be lying in wait for us in the final. Well, as we get back to the menus, let's find out. Is it going to be the old lady who have played and lost to Sampdoria? Thank you very much, Sampdoria. And in the Coppa Italia final, it is going to be Juventus. So what I am going to do is sim through to the first leg of our Europa League semi-final against Newcastle. Like we did against Juve, I'm going to sim the first leg, and then depending on the result, most likely play the second. We will then have the Coppa Italia final, and then we will play out our final 2 games in the league, where I will probably sim, as it's looking very likely that we will be league champions by the time we get there. So yeah, let's jump into the sim for Newcastle at home and see how we get on in this first leg. Well, we could only manage a draw against Como in the sim, which means it is very, very tight and cagey at the top of the Serie A. We are now 3 points clear, but with 4 games to play, it only takes a couple of slip-ups and Juve are right back in it. So, yeah, got to do our job. And our job right now is the Europa League semi-final. First leg against Newcastle, expecting a tough game. And it's going to be a 2-1 defeat in the first leg. We were a goal up through Christian Pulisic, but goals from Oscar Bob and Anthony Gordon mean that Newcastle will be leading heading to St James's Park for the second leg. So I am definitely going to be playing that. So we will sim through to that now, and we will definitely jump into that played game. Losing and trailing by 2-1, but like we were in the Coppa Italia semi, we've got the opportunity to still turn this around. We've got Empoli on the weekend before we get to Newcastle, where I'm hoping we can get the first of 3 wins that will wrap up the Serie A championship for us. Anyway, Newcastle away. Let's see how we get on in midweek as well. Forza Napoli. Yeah, it's no real surprise that this Newcastle team is doing so well because it is absolutely stacked with quality. So it's going to be a really tough game this, but we're playing well at the moment. And I am feeling pretty confident we can find some goals from somewhere as Pulisic creates half a yard and Gigi Donnarumma pushes it away to safety. Promising start from Napoli, and we are going to need some goals tonight. But we've got to make sure we keep the goals out down the other end. And with this Newcastle front three, that is going to be easier said than done. But we have been good defensively this season, as De Bruyne does well. Back on English soil. Sanchez, Pulisic, Ramos. Oh, it's a brilliant move. And Gonzalo Ramos is onside and on hand to get us back on level terms as Sanchez was slid through, offloads to Pulisic, and instead of getting his head down and going for goal, he gets his head up, spots Ramos in space and beats his former PSG teammate Gianluigi Donnarumma. We've got our early goal and we're back on level terms. Well, I do think looking at this Newcastle team, the weakest area of the pitch is at centre-back. Oh, that's brilliant from Isak, and Buongiorno does really well to get a toe on that. As Gordon pinches it back, swings the ball in, and there's Buongiorno again. He has been a brick wall so far today, but I was just saying, I do think at centre-back is where they're weakest. As good of a defender as Sven Botman is, he is not the quickest. And Emre Can next to him is neither. Oh, it's McTominay. Oh, he's been so reliable for him as I couldn't get my words out. But McTominay with a great chance. McTominay wins the header. De Bruyne spots the space. And what a pass that is. Lang in behind. Lang comes infield. Noah Lang. Oh, it's wide. But it's a great move from Napoli as De Bruyne spotted the pass and then pinpointed it out to Noah Lang, who did the hard work, came inside and couldn't find the finish. And we have had two glorious chances either side of the break. Well, since that chance for Noah Lang, the second half has gone really quiet. And with just over 10 to play, we still are level at 2-2. But Isak, oh, it's brilliant. Gordon, big save by Meret. Well, this is going to do it. Newcastle have to get the ball forward. McTominay does well. Pulisic, oh, rolls through Ramos and the referee blows up. And I wish we had the referee from that Coppa Italia semi-final who allowed us to play on and score late into added time. But he blows up and we will be heading to extra time once again. Mendy pings a ball out to Miguel Gutierrez, who brings it down. And O'Reilly finds Noah Lang. Lang onto his right foot. Lang lets fly. Oh, that is magnificent. And Noah Lang, who's had a fantastic goal-scoring campaign, has just scored probably the goal of the season. And what a time to get it as well, as St James's Park falls silent, other than those Napoli fans up in the heavens. What a goal from Noah Lang, and we are 20 minutes away from the Europa League final. Well, there is not long left to play here. Fratesi finds Elanga, who skips away from Gutierrez. Should have stayed on my feet there. Cross comes in. Gordon heads it towards goal. And Meret will claim, thankfully, as that was half a chance for the Englishman. But there is the whistle. And Napoli have done it again, trailing, heading into the second leg of a knockout fixture, and we have turned it around away from home. At first it was in Turin against Juventus in the Coppa Italia, and now here in England in the north at St James's Park. And what a result, as we will be heading into the Coppa Italia and the Europa League finals this season. Well guys, I have to say I am just enjoying this save so much at the moment. It's so good because you get to play all the best bits of a season all in one episode. You get the summer transfer window and then really getting into the gritty end of the season when trophies are on the line. And in the Europa League final, speaking of trophies, we are going to be taking on Manchester City as expected. They beat Nice in what was a really close tie, to be fair. 4-3 in the end. But it will be Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the final. As I mentioned, we've got the Coppa Italia to come as well. And this season has just been such good fun. I've really enjoyed the team we've put together, and I'm hoping that we are going to be able to end up with a treble as well. 3 games left to play in the Serie A. One of those will come before we head into the Coppa Italia final as we sim through against Sampdoria, hoping to get a big win to take us one step closer to the trophy. And then it will be Juventus in the Coppa Italia final. So let's dive straight into that game. Feeling pretty nervous about this because Juventus have been a big thorn in our side in the domestic competitions this season. So it's going to be a huge clash, and I'm hoping we will get our hands on our 3rd piece of silverware of the save. Forza Napoli. Well, we are looking to avenge our demons of last year, and with us looking favourites to win the Serie A as well, Juventus are looking to make sure they don't end the season trophyless. So lots on the line for both clubs, and of course, as I said, with us losing this last year, we've got some pretty bad memories of the final of this competition, and if we lose it, then we're going to have a big decision to make next year as Jonathan David rolled through, and he is not going to miss that. I can never keep this man quiet, and what I was just saying, if we lose it, do we stay for another year, meaning we will have spent 3 years in Naples, or do we head somewhere else and know that we will have to come back to Italy? Well, we're 5 minutes away from the break here, and we've not really caused any problems for Juventus. We've had a few moments where we found pockets of space in midfield, but haven't really created anything. But that's nicely worked. And Matt O'Reilly in behind levels up for Napoli. As right on cue, I was just saying we've not really created anything, and we have done now. It's Jonathan David right at the end of the first half. Adzic, gets away from Zeno. Adzic, it's brilliant. It's a wonderful goal. Cup football is just so difficult in FC 25. As that's into Johnny David, who gets there. Oh my goodness, that is not far away. If that 3rd goal goes in, it might be game over. But for now, Napoli are just about still breathing. Sanchez out to De Bruyne in that wide right-hand channel of the pitch. De Bruyne finds Ramos. Lovely football. Gonzalo Ramos gets us back on level terms again, and Juventus must be wondering how, because they've been much the better side today, and we've had 2 chances and we've taken them both. Now David. Adzic. Back to Jonathan David. Big save merit, and that could be huge come full time if we end up getting our hands on this trophy, but Juve looking more likely as the flag goes up. That is a huge save by the skipper. Tomine into Gonzalo Ramos, and now Neres off the bench. Lovely skill, Neres floats it for Lang at the back stick, and it's a wonderful goal again by the Dutchman Noah Lang, who has scored some wonderful goals in today's episode, and some big goals as well, as it's dinked into the back post. I changed my right hand side. De Bruyne and Pulisic off for Neres and Fabian, who were involved down the right. It's Neres, the Brazilian, who floats it into Noah Lang at the back post, gets his foot over the top of Matthias de Ligt's head, and it clips the underside of the crossbar on its way through. Wonderful goal from Noah Lang, and we are 10 minutes away from checking off the Coppa Italia trophy from this challenge. Maybe not. Oh my goodness. Well, it's just such poor defending from me to give away a goal like that in a cup final when you are 10 minutes away from victory is just really poor. But there's still chances for us here as Fabian off the bench. Ramos is up with him, and Fabian overruns it and allows Bremer to get across. Well, that is going to do it, and again we are heading for extra time. I hope you guys strapped in when you clicked on this episode, because it is going to be an absolute mammoth and a roller coaster as the Coppa Italia final is heading to extra time. Milik. Douglas Luiz is onside. Douglas Luiz off the bench has maybe just won it for Juventus. and we have crumbled in the cup final once again. Well, we were a goal up in the Coppa Italia final last year, early on, but we still managed to throw it away. And now this year, as Neres gets us back on level terms again, maybe we're not dead and buried, as it's 4-4 in the cup final. Well, whoever ends up on the losing side of this cup final is going to be absolutely devastated, because neither side really deserves to lose. It has been an absolute spectacle. As Jeremy Pino's onside there, Gutierrez can't get there. And I'm just hoping that it's not going to be us on the losing side, as Milik turns. It's good defending. And there might still be one final chance here today. As Zeno has to get there, doesn't. And Jonathan David, who has been a thorn in my side all game long, has probably just won it for Juve. There's been twists and turns, but I think that might be the final nail in Napoli's coffin. Gutierrez, come on, don't blow up yet, ref. Lang, Højlund, McTominay gives it away, and there is the whistle, and it is defeat in the Coppa Italia final once again for Napoli. 2 years on the bounce, we have lost it. And last year it was a tight and cagey affair. This year it was open, it was end to end, and it was a crazy topsy-turvy final. But cup football is just so difficult in FC 25, but we have a real dilemma on our hands. Do we stay and give it another season with this Napoli squad and just focus on the Coppa Italia, knowing that if we lose it again, it is another season wasted in this save? Or do we jump ship, move somewhere else, and look to focus on some of the other trophies at hand? We're going to have to win this at some point. Do we focus on it now, or do we focus on it in the future? A big decision to be made by myself between now and next episode. Well, there is the confirmation that Juventus are Coppa Italia winners. I am absolutely devastated by that. Losing it last year was hard enough, but 2 years in a row, man, we are becoming Coppa Italia bottle jobs. But what we will do is just jump straight into our next game, because we've got another big final to come. And this is the one I was feeling most apprehensive about. It's Man City in the Europa League final, as we will take on Pep Guardiola's side. As we sim through, we will take on Hellas Verona away from home, as we look to move within an inch of the Serie A title. So hopefully it won't be a second trophyless season of the save, as we will should have the Serie A wrapped up shortly. But it is that Europa League final that I am feeling pretty nervous about. Manchester City coming up in the final. Forza Napoli. Well, we've got to try and put that Coppa Italia loss behind us, and what a way it would be to do it if we can get our hands on the Europa League here. Of course, I probably would rather have had the Coppa Italia, because those domestic cups are so difficult to win, whereas the European ones, you get a chance to... Oh, that's not far away. You get a chance to compete in those practically every season. So, as I mentioned earlier on, we've got a decision to make whether we're staying in Italy or moving elsewhere, and knowing that we have to come back. But I'd love to get my hands on the Europa League now that we've lost the Coppa Italia. To end the season with a League and European double would be lovely. Rodri. Nice ball. Rodri. Haaland. Danger. City lead. You can't give Erling Haaland time on the edge of the box. Wonderful strike, and we look set for back-to-back defeats in cup finals in the matter of just a week. Well, City is just a completely different animal, man. They're way too good to be playing Europa League football. And I said, I think back in the quarter-finals, that they would be favourites, as De Bruyne gets us back on level terms against his former team, and Kevin De Bruyne shows the respect for Manchester City. But that is a huge goal for Napoli from the Belgian. Pulisic does well, and it's a lovely move in field past Josko Gvardiol, and the finish is sublime past Ederson. Napoli back on level terms. Haaland, Man City goal scorer, has Nico with him. Oh, Mancini had to be careful, gives it away. Shirky, oh, that's a pen. That's a pen all day long. I've completely wiped him out. And it's a penalty for City. That's so poor from me. Erling Haaland rifles it in. It's a wonderful pen. And we have 3 goals in the opening 25 minutes again. It's another crazy cup final. Vardio down the right. 5 to play until the break. Got to make sure we stay in the game. As Chevrolet finds Rodri. Haaland on the spin. Haaland! You cannot give this man time and space. Left foot, right foot, doesn't matter. Erling Haaland will find the net. And he doubles Manchester City's advantage to 2. We look down and out, man. Gutierrez slides it into O'Reilly nicely. And now Lang looking to get in behind. Come on, this game is not done yet. As that's fired into Gonzalo Ramos, who gets on the score sheet and gets us back in the game. I've given the boys a pep talk, if you will, at half-time, and it seems to have worked, as 5 minutes after the restart, we have halved the deficit. Oh, Gutierrez does well, and O'Reilly on to Noah Lang. And Lang, with Pulisic at the back post, never going to beat Vardio in the air, but Sanchez does well. De Bruyne has it again. I see McTominay going into the middle. Ramos on the weaker left foot. That is half a chance for a player of his quality. And this has been much better from Napoli in this second half. As Sanchez over halfway. McTominay with him. McTominay. Pulisic. De Bruyne. Ramos denied by Ederson as he didn't really get hold of it, and the subs might be coming a bit too late. Neres. De Bruyne again floats the cross in, it's headed down, and Buongiorno gets it all wrong, and I think that is going to do it. Ramos had the chance a moment ago, but that is going to do it, and it's going to be back-to-back cup final defeats for Napoli in what is a heartbreaking end to the season, as Manchester City and Erling Haaland win the Europa League. They were favourites for the competition. It's still a great squad that they've got, and I just could not keep Erling Haaland quiet in that first half. Yeah, so disappointing, man, but that is the challenge of the Glory Hunter save, and you've got to be so on it because each season is so valuable, and every final that you lose, every trophy that you miss out on sets you back even further. And as Rodri is going to lift the Europa League for Manchester City, it is heartbreak for Napoli. We lost the Coppa Italia a week ago, and we've still not wrapped up the Serie A as it is going down to the final day. And here, losing the Europa League final as well, it's tough to take, man. It is really tough to take. Well, there is confirmation of Manchester City's Europa League win. And as I mentioned a few weeks ago, it was the Coppa Italia loss to Juventus. Both high-scoring and entertaining finals, but as a Napoli fan, that is difficult to take. And we will head into our final game of this season. It's the matchday 38 of the Serie A, where a win will see us crowned champions and also undefeated as well in what has been an astonishing season. There's been lots of draws, but if we can do it undefeated, that is pretty phenomenal. So it is Genoa at home in what should be a comfortable win on the final day. I'm just going to bring you the goals because it's been a long episode already, but let's jump into the final clash. Matchday 38 with the title on the line. Forza Napoli. Well, we're just getting underway in the second half and still we remain deadlocked at 0-0. And if we end up bottling this on the final day, I don't think I'd ever forgive myself, and I don't think the Napoli fans would forgive me either. Yes, we've already had some disappointment, but this was the one that looked as if it was going to be a banker, and if we end up without it, those fans are never going to forgive me. As Pulisic looked to drill it into the middle, well defended, and McTominay to Sanchez, and McTominay is denied by a good save. Still hunting that opening goal, and I think once we get it, we will be fine. But all the time it remains 0-0. There is nerves around this stadium. Spinazzola forward to O'Reilly. Lang has a bit of space. Now Ramos. Come on, this is a great chance. Ramos back to Noah Lang. In behind. Lang from the angle gives us the breakthrough. And he has scored some really important goals this season. And now he gets the goal that might see us crowned Serie A champions. Well, that's going to do it. It's been an atrocious game, but there is the whistle, and Noah Lang's goal will mean that Napoli are Serie A champions once again. We really struggled towards the end of the campaign after it was all going so swimmingly, but defeats in back-to-back cup finals in the Coppa Italia and the Europa League meant that heading into this game, all the pressure was on, but we managed to get the job done in front of our home crowd. It was not a particularly good game, but Leonardo Spinazzola, still at the club, just about to retire, will get the chance as captain to lift the Serie A trophy one final time in front of those Napoli fans as we are crowned champions of Italy. As I mentioned, that Coppa Italia defeat, the Europa League defeat are hard to take. And moving forward, I'm not sure what my next move is. Do we stay and give it one more year? Of course, we'd be back in the Champions League. And of course, we would have the Coppa Italia to go for as well. Or do we look to move clubs and come back for the Coppa Italia at a later date? Well, that's hilarious. Juventus lost on the final day at home to Lazio. So even if we lost, we still would have been champions. And of course, we do it undefeated as well. Obviously, most of the season was simmed. We only played that one game right at the end of the campaign. Lots of draws, but an undefeated league campaign for Napoli. Juventus in second, Milan third, and Lazio fourth. Roma in fifth, with Inter in sixth, having a really poor title defence, and Fiorentina in seventh, with Torino, Cagliari and Atalanta wrapping up the top half. As for the three teams going down this year, it is Monza, Empoli and Udinese, who are all pretty far adrift of the bottom three. We did win the Super Cup this year, which of course means absolutely nothing as it's not a trophy that we need to win. And as we've already discussed, we did lose that Coppa Italia final to Juventus in a crazy 5-4 thriller. As for the European competitions, well, I thought we were going to be heading into the Conference League this year. And I think we would have been one of the favourites for it alongside Chelsea, who did go on to win it. Another crazy final, beating Braga by 4-3. As for the Europa League, we had some pretty crazy ties along the way, but it was Juve in the quarters, Newcastle in the semis, before we were defeated by Manchester City in the final. I think they were favourites for the competition heading into it, and they managed to get their hands on the trophy as well. And the Champions League this year, of course, if we do stay with Napoli, we will be heading back into this competition, but I'm not sure what my plans are moving forward. The final four, Liverpool beat Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid beating Dortmund, and it was Real who get their hands on another Champions League trophy. And again, I'm not going to go through every single player in the squad hub because I will be here forever, but you can see we had quite a few players featuring in over 60 games this season. Our top scorer was Ramos with 31 in all competitions. Pulisic, as I say, really good debut season for the American, 28 goals, 9 assists, and Noah Lang, 11 goals in the Europa League, 24 goals and 11 assists in all competitions, was a really good season for him. And in midfield, McTominay, Ferguson and O'Reilly doing really well, 13, 12 and 9 goals respectively, and plenty of assists as well. Miguel Gutierrez was our top creator in all competitions with 12. As I say, Noah Lang had 11, O'Reilly 10, Ferguson and McTominay both had 6, and Pulisic coming in with 9 assists. So a really good season for Napoli. Just disappointing in the way it sort of fizzled out towards the end of the campaign. Those losses in the Coppa Italia and the Europa League sting pretty hard, and although we did get our hands on the Serie A, it does feel like a little bit of a disappointing season because I genuinely thought we could go all the way and win a treble this season, but I'm not sure what my plans are moving forward. We may be back with Napoli in the next episode, but I don't want the series to get too stale being at one team for too long. So we may look to move on and potentially come back to win the Coppa Italia at a later date. I'm not too sure. I'm going to have a think about it and see if we even have any job opportunities opening up for us, because the job search in this game is just not particularly good. So that will do it for today's video, guys. It's been a long one, as there has been lots and lots of pretty chaotic games, and we had to play quite a lot today as well, as we were hunting down a treble. 2 cup final defeats, but we did get our hands on our second league title of the save. So the trophy room is starting to fill up. We are getting there slowly but surely, and of course we still have a long way to go. But I will catch you in the next episode very soon, guys. Take care and peace.